to your favorite part of the market, Perry, and there's a lot of good stuff going on. I don't know what you thought when you saw these numbers, but these blew me away.
It's unbelievable stuff. You know, a lot of that's being fueled by the new properties coming into the area. You know, we had when the first W Hotel doors opened, when the Austonian doors opened, there wasn't a lot of premium product over $700,000. These $700,000 properties have opened. They've opened big. People have sold their houses in areas or downsizing. You know, some of these places even offer little apartments, so when your family comes in, you can actually just let them stay there instead. It's a pretty great place to be. Let's talk specifically about some numbers here. 13 million versus 2.5 million. 11 versus 3 sold units. Now, that's really going to be a big number, because when you're talking about 11 units and 13 million, you're talking about an average sales price over $1 million for each one of these units. And
right.
What they're going to get for that is a 3-bedroom at the W Hotel. Probably get one of the best 3-bedroom deals down there. You're going to get you'll get a 2-bedroom with or a 2-bedroom with a really large open space, or a penthouse unit over at the Austonian. And you know, most of those are probably going to be 3-bedroom units or penthouse units in the downtown area. Absolutely fantastic indicator that people are coming down. The stats say that the executives for those companies that are opening up downtown are really what's driving this big market shift. You know, the executives, the presidents, the vice presidents, they just want to get out of their place, walk over to their office instead of drive. This is really pushing, in addition to high-end sales, but the explosive growth we're having in these startups and the big companies coming downtown, like Serious Logic. You know, where have you been hearing about that stuff? Where do you see things coming from?
Well, you know, I think you're absolutely on track. If you look at the downtown Austin condo market, especially over 700,000, it's a market that's coming into its own, where there's enough product now that the offerings are such that an executive or a downsizing couple coming out of a place like Lakeway or even Westlake or Points West in Austin, where you have the higher-end markets, you know, they are empty nesters now, and they want to sell a large home and move into the downtown, because it is a lifestyle market versus a real estate market now, where they can actually move their equity into a tower, lose all the maintenance, begin to travel more if that's what they want to do. And that, combined with all this executive purchase, has really made that market grow. But a year ago, like you said, there just wasn't a lot of product they could look at, was there?
No, I mean, so it's a combination. You have the explosive growth in downtown, high-end companies coming downtown. We've talked about this in episode after episode. We've talked about the big companies like Serious Logic moving down there. We talked about National Instruments bringing people down there, Google, Facebook. I mean, you've got to admit, there's a couple of Facebook millionaires for sure, even though that IPO went off horribly. There's a couple bosses in there that are probably living at the Austonian next. This is a fun place to be, and this is a growing place to be downtown, and I'm glad to see it coming up. There is a threat to that market. There's still a lot of available inventory there, and they do this 66 versus 125 days is a little deceiving, because the way these developers work is they may offer a floor at a time, or they may finish out a unit that's not on the market yet. So it may deceive these numbers a little bit, which I think is okay in a market where you have new projects opening up. It doesn't seem as misleading as it could be.
Well, and I think that reality is, and we've talked about this in most of our submarkets, whether it's Southwest Austin or other parts of the market, the days on market are probably less of an indicator than the sell-through volume and what's happening with units and pricing, and right. What's happening with median pricing. And what's interesting is you can see this large increase in the median price is a big function of a new different product coming out than was available a year ago. There were very few units over 700,000, and now with the Austonian and some of these other projects, there's a lot more for people to look at.
Well, I love the area. Maybe one day my wife and I will have to buy one of these suckers too.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that are going on. I had a question for you. I've seen a lot of discussions about, and this isn't so much of a 700,000 or over discussion. It's more of a downtown. Now that everybody's living there and you have a large number of people that use two-wheel transportation and bicycles,
Right.
I'm seeing people installing, the owners of these complexes or the management companies installing bike blockers. Is that a trend you see that's going to continue?
You know, it's interesting. I remember being exposed, yes, the answer to your question is yes, and I remember going to Santa Clara back in the 90s and seeing these boxes in the Siemens campus, and I'm like, what is that? It's a bike blocker. You run around downtown now, you can rent the bike lockers. It's pretty amazing. And you can go into the HomeAway office downtown where I was yesterday. I'll take a picture of these things. You've got them at stores outside. Unfortunately, the downtown area, you know, being as close to Mexico as we are, bikes disappear. If they do, get stolen. But these lockers are really starting to pop up. And I think we joked before about how storage space is kind of the most profitable space in a congested area like downtown, how the storage lockers in these condos are selling at a premium. Well, these bike lockers are starting to come up, and they cost $2,000 a piece for a double bike locker. And I can understand why they're charging for them, but you know, companies and locations are starting to offer these things, which I say kudos for. That'll help. That'll help storage, and it'll help lifestyle for sure.
Well, it absolutely will. And I think as you look at, I mean, if we go further west into where some of the more live-work projects are going to be coming up, you know, and this would be the stuff that's south of where Whole Foods is along that waterfront area, you're going to see more bike traffic along this corridor. And I think we'll see a lot more installations of these bike storage lockers because it's going to become a bigger and bigger issue that you're going to have more and more people using this form of transportation. I think you're going to see Austin encouraging this, and in order to encourage it, they need to solve the problem about storage and security.
Right. And, you know, they're doing it. I like the 360 condominiums has a bike cage in their parking lot on a couple different floors. That's more of a secured access. Spring Tower doesn't have that. So I'm trying to think through other things. I saw some bike lockers outside of the Austonian, but they may not own it. It's very cool to see those things pop up. And I think that the proposition passed too on Tuesday. That's going to make that little community street down the way face. You know, they're shifting all the bike traffic there in front of the courthouse. So we are going to see more and more of this.
Oh, and I think once they have the corridors built and it becomes easier to transit, I'll call it more, it's more of an issue east and west as these two clusters of the downtown growth have occurred. And you're going to see the newest stuff going up west because they have all those projects that are in works. It will become a bigger issue because people are going to want to take the bike over to whatever, even the recreation, and now we're going to have on the east side over the next decade, Waller Creek. And that's going to encourage use of business transportation. So I'm excited to watch this and things grow.